Odyssey, Book 18, The Fight with Eurus. Odysseus warns Amphinomas. Penelope gets presents from the suitors, the braziers. Odysseus rebukes Eurymachus. Now there came a certain common tramp who used to go begging all over the city of Ithaca, and was notorious as an incorrigible glutton and drunkard. This man had no strength nor stay in him, but he was a great hulking fellow to look at. His real name, the one his mother gave him, was Arneus, but the young men of the place called him Eurus, because he used to run errands for anyone who would send him. As soon as he began to insult Odysseus, and to try and drive him out of his own house, "Be off, old man," he cried from the doorway, "or you shall be dragged out neck and heels. Do not see that they are all giving me the wink, and wanting me to turn you out by force. Only I do not like to do so. Get up then, and go up yourself, or we shall come to blows." Odysseus frowned on him, and said, "My friend, do you no manner of harm. People give you a great deal, but I am not jealous. There is room enough in this doorway for the pair of us, and you do not grudge me things that are not yours to give. You seem to be just such another tramp as myself, but perhaps the gods will give us better luck by and by. Do not, however, talk too much about fighting, or you will incense me, and old though I am, I shall cover your mouth and chest with blood. I shall have more peace tomorrow if I do, for you will not come to the house of Odysseus any more." Eurus was very angry, and answered, "You filthy glutton, you run on trippingly like an old fish bag. I have a good mind to lay both hands about you and knock your teeth out with your head like so many boars' tusks. Get ready, therefore, and let these people here stand by and look on. You will never be able to fight one who is so much younger than yourself." Thus roundly did they rate one another on their smooth pavement in front of the doorway, and when Antinoüs saw what was going on, he laughed heartily and said to others, "This is the finest sport that you ever saw. Heaven never yet sent anything like it into this house. The stranger and Iris have quarreled and are going to fight. Let us set them on to do so at once." The suitors all came up laughing and gathered round the two ragged tramps. "Listen to me," said Antinoüs. "There are some goats paunches down at the fire, while we have filled with blood and fat and set aside for supper. He who is victorious and proves himself to be the better man shall have his pick of the lot. He shall be free of our table and will not allow any other beggar about the house at all." The others all agreed, but Odysseus, to throw them off the scent, said, "Sirs, an old man like myself, worn out of suffering, cannot hold his own against a young one, but my irrepressible belly urges me on, though I know it can only end in me getting a drubbing. You must swear, however, that none of you will give me a foul blow to favor Eurus and secure him the victory." They swore as he told them, and when they had completed their oath, Telemachus put in a word and said, "Stranger, if you had a mind to settle with this fellow, you need not be afraid of anyone here. Whoever strikes you will have a fight more than one. I am host, and the other chiefs, Antinous and Eurymachus, both of them of understanding, are of the same mind as I am." Everyone assented, and Odysseus girded his old rags about his loins, and bearing his stalwart thighs, his broad chest and shoulders, and his mighty arms. But Athena came up to him and made his limbs even stronger still. The suitors were beyond measure astonished, and one would turn towards his neighbor, saying, "The stranger has brought such a thigh out of his old rags that there will soon be nothing left of Eurus." Eurus began to be very uneasy as he heard them, but the servants girded him by force and brought him into the open parts of the courts in such a fright that his limbs were all tremble. Antinoüs scolded him and said, "You swaggering bully, you ought never to have been born at all if you are afraid of such an old broken down creature as this tramp, I say. Therefore, and it shall surely be, he beats you and proves himself the better man, I shall pack you off on board ship to the mainland and send you to King Echetus, who kills everyone that comes near him. He will cut off your nose and ears and dry out your entrails for the dogs to eat." This frightened Eurus still more, but they brought him into the middle of the court, and the two men raised their hands to fight, and then Odysseus considered whether he should let drive so hard at him as to make an end of him then and there, or whether he should give him a lighter blow that should only knock him down. In the end, he deemed it best to give a lighter blow to fear that Hercules should begin to suspect who he was. Then they began to fight, and Eurus hit Odysseus on the right shoulder, but Odysseus gave Eurus a blow on the neck under the ear that broke in the bones of his skull, and blood came rushing out of his mouth. He fell groaning in the dust, gnashing his teeth and kicking on the ground, but the suitors threw up their hands and nearly died of laughter, as Odysseus caught hold of him by the foot and dragged him into outer court as far as the gatehouse. There he propped him up against the wall and put his staff in his hands. "Sit here," said he, "and keep the dogs and pigs off. You are a pitiful creature, and if you try to make yourself king of the beggars any more, you shall fare still worse." Then he threw his dirty old wallet, all tattered and torn, over his shoulder with the cord by which it hung, and went back to sit down upon the threshold. But the suitors went with him to cloisters, laughing and saluting him. "May Zeus and all other gods," said they, "grant you whatever you want for having put an end to importunity of the insatiable tramp. We will take him over to the mainland presently to King Echetus, who kills everyone that comes near him." Odysseus hailed this as a good omen, and Antinoüs set a great goat's paunch before him, filled with blood and fat. Amphinomius took 2 loaves out of the breadbasket and brought them to him, pledging him as he did so in golden goblet of wine. "Good luck to you," he said. "Father stranger, you are very badly off at present, but I hope you will have better times by and by." To this Odysseus answered, "Amphinomius, you seem to be a man of good understanding, as indeed you may well be, seeing whose son you are. I have heard your father well spoken of. He is Nisus of Belgium, a man both brave and wealthy. They tell me you are his son, and you appear to be a considerable person. Listen, therefore, and take heed to what I am saying. Man is the vainest of all creatures that have their being upon earth. As long as heaven vouchsafes him health and strength, he thinks that he shall come to no harm hereafter. And even when the blessed gods bring sorrow upon him, he bears it, he needs must, and makes the best of it. For God Almighty gives men their daily minds day by day. I know all about it, for I was a rich man once, and did much wrong in the stubbornness of my pride, and in the confidence that my father and my brothers would support me. Therefore let a man fear God in all things always, and take the good that heaven may see fit to send him without a vain glory. Consider the infamy of what these suitors are doing. See how they are wasting the estate and doing dishonor to the wife of one who is certain to return some day, and that too not long hence. Nay, he will be here soon. May heaven hand you home quietly first, that you may not meet with him on the day of his coming, for once he is here, the suitors and he will not part bloodlessly." With these words he made a drink offering, and when he had drunk, he had put the gold cup again into the hands of Amphinomius, who walked away, seriously and bowing his head, for he foreboded evil. But even so he did not escape destruction, for Athena had doomed him to fall by the hand of Telemachus. So he took his seat again at the place from which he had come. Then Athena put into the mind of Penelope to show herself to the suitors, that she might make them still more enamored of her, and win still further honor from her son and husband. So she feigned a mocking laugh, and said, "Eurynome, I have changed my mind, and have a fancy to show myself to the suitors, although I detest them. I should like also to give my son a hint that he had better not have anything more to do with them. They speak fairly enough, but they mean mischief." "My dear child," answered Eurynome, "all that you have said is true. Go and tell your son about it, but first wash yourself and anoint your face. Do not go about with your cheeks all covered with tears. It is not right that you should grieve so incessantly, for Telemachus, whom you always prayed that you might live to see with a beard, is already grown up." "I know, Eurynome," replied Penelope, "that you mean well, but do not try and persuade me to wash and to anoint myself, for heaven robbed me of all my beauty on the day my husband sailed. Nevertheless, tell also know." And Hippodamia, that I wanted them. They must be with me when I am in the cloister. I am not going among the men alone. It would not be proper for me to do so. On this, the old woman went out of her room to bid the maids to go to their mistress. In the meantime, Athena bethought her of another matter, and set Penelope off into a sweet slumber. So she lay down on her couch, and limbs became heavy with sleep. Then the goddess shed grace and beauty all over her, that all the Grecians might admire her. She washed her face with ambrosial loveliness that Aphrodite wears when she goes dancing with the Graces. She made her taller and a more commanding figure, while for her complexion it was whiter than sawn ivory. When Athena had done all that, she went away, whereupon the maids came into the woman's room and woke Penelope with the sound of their talking. What an exquisitely delicious sleep I have been having, said she, as she passed her hands over her face. In spite of all my misery, I wish Artemis would let me die so sweetly now at this very moment, that I might no longer waste in despair for the loss of my dear husband, who possessed every kind of good quality and was the most distinguished man among the Grecians. With these words she came down from her upper room, not alone but attended by two of her maidens, and when she reached the suitors she stood by one of her bearing posts, supporting the roof of the cloister, holding a veil before her face, and with a staid maid servant on either side of her. As they beheld her suitors were